Police say the first involved 3 vehicles after one driver improperly changed lanes, with one vehicle flipping onto its roof. Traffic from that crash contributed to a second collision involving 3 vehicles and a semi-truck. No injuries were reported, though some drivers were checked by medics after airbags deployed. Police cited drivers involved in both crashes for improper driving maneuvers. A 15-year-old girl remains missing in Aurora after she was last seen Saturday. Police say Ashley Velasquez Carrera was last seen in the 300 block of South Broadway. She's 4'6", about 120 pounds, with black hair, brown eyes, and a scar on her right wrist. She was last seen wearing a white sweater and black jeans. Anyone with information is asked to call Aurora Police at 630-256-5500 or email tips@aurora.il.us. President Trump has ordered American flags lowered to half-staff nationwide to honor Dolly Parton. Parton died Tuesday at the age of 80 after a career spanning decades in music, film, and philanthropy. The flags will remain at half-staff for 1 week. Uber is rolling out new family features designed to help parents monitor rides taken by their teenagers. Parents can request and pay for tips, track the ride, and use safety features like audio recording. A new live video feature will also let linked parents watch through the driver's selfie camera during some rides. Northbound Route 47 near Route 30 in Sugar Grove will be closed today starting at 9 a.m. for work on the Route 30 bridge. IDOT says the closure is needed to safely remove steel support beams over the road. Drivers will be detoured onto Route 56 east to Galena Boulevard West, then back to northbound Route 47. The work is expected to be finished and the road reopened by 4 p.m. Drivers should expect delays and allow extra time through the area. I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either. Because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself. And Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
The Southeastern Conference joined the Big Ten Tuesday in its unanimous opposition to athletes leaving the pros and returning college teams. The ACC membership has meetings scheduled today with Commissioner Jim Phillips, and the Big 12 is expected to meet on the matter as well. The Diamondbacks beat the Cubs 5-4. Arizona pulls within 1 game of San Diego for the last wild card in the National League. Ryan Waldschmidt hit the game-winning 2-run homer with 2 outs in the 9th. The Cubs were up 3-0 after an Ian Happ 3-run homer in the 4th. Then Michael Busch hit an RBI single in the 6th. That made it 4-0. Busch and Seiya Suzuki each had 2 hits. Arizona ruined a great outing for Clay Holmes, who allowed 2 singles and 2 walks while striking out 5 over 7 scoreless innings. The Diamondbacks will send lefty Eduardo Rodriguez to the mound to face Cubs lefty Matthew Boyd today. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive.
I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
If there's one thing you can count on, it's 24/7 protection when you bundle home and auto insurance with Progressive.
This is Will Walker with your Fox Valley forecast. Brought to you by KFC. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain showers and a low around 64. Looking ahead to Wednesday, partly sunny with a high near 83 and a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Later Wednesday night, mostly clear with a low around 62. Currently, it's 66 and overcast. With your Fox Valley forecast, I'm Will Walker on WRMN, the talk of the town.
Progressive knows you've never met Channel 6 meteorologist Daniel Hughes, but when he says it'll be sunny, you trust him. After all, he is a weather professional who knows how to use a green screen and probably went to weather school. You never went to weather school, so you hit the farmer's market in your convertible. Turns out Daniel Hughes is not dependable. But Progressive is. So bundle your home and auto insurance and get 24/7 protection and reliable coverage. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Do you ever crave a delicious treat, but that pesky guilt lingers over you? Well, you can have your dessert and eat it too. Desserts that's gluten-free, keto, vegan, and actually delicious. Yes, we're serious. At Desserts Without Regrets, located in Gilbert's, we bake for people who read labels. Custom cookies, celebration cakes, and treats made with clean ingredients and zero guilt. No walk-ins, because great dessert takes planning. Pre-order only at dessertswithoutregrets.com or call Daria at 312-610-9033. That's Desserts Without Regrets, because dessert should never be a regret.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-234-0316. 800-234-0316. That's 800-234-0316.
Everybody, and welcome to Life Experiences with William Pelarenos. Our topic today is going to be pros and cons of flock cameras. We are broadcasting live right here at WRMN1410.com and on YouTube at youtube.com/WRMN Radio. So feel free to join us. Conversation is always great, and give us a call at 847-931-1410. We'll take your call live. That's 847-931-1410, or you could even text us at 505-926-1410, and feel free to even respond right onto the YouTube correspondence directly. Bill, good afternoon. Dino. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I posted about the flock camera system because the last couple of weeks there's been a lot of activity on the news about this, not only in Illinois, but nationwide. It has become into the debate over privacy issues. So first of all, let's explain what the flock system is. They are cameras that are mounted in communities that have an agreement with the flock system. And the flock system reads license plates. It also documents the vehicle make, model, color, but it does not tell you who the driver is, who the passenger is, or who pedestrians are. It's simply a license plate reader, LPR, as known. Now, if you're following us on YouTube, there's a little photo here. People are going around damaging and defacing flock cameras. Now, somebody has these stickers, giant reddish stickers that they put on the flock posts that identify them as flock cameras. Somebody got caught doing that, and they charged them, the town charged them with a misdemeanor of defacing public property.
Correct. So
no matter, even if you dislike the flock camera system or emotional about it, you should not be damaging them. And in DuPage County in Illinois, there was a Glendale Heights man that was charged with 3 felony counts of damaging flock cameras. Now, he was just recently arrested. He hasn't been tried or convicted yet, but the arrest was documented and publicly displayed on social media as well as news broadcasts. We discourage any type of damage to flock cameras. If you have issues with them, there are ways that you can debate them. And yesterday I saw in the news that there was a public hearing in the town of Rolling Meadows, Illinois. And I specify Illinois because flock cameras are nationwide.
That's right.
It's a huge system. In Rolling Meadows, Illinois, where the village board was considering whether or not to drop the flock camera contract. So people were able to come in and express their opinion, as well as I believe a representative flock was there. So there's pros and cons to it. Now, the way I look at it, and I've been retired for 12 and a half years, so my jurisdiction was not using flock cameras back then. They've really become...
We had to do it the old hard way, remember, Bill?
Yes.
We had to find them the old way. And, just if you can, for clarification, flock camera is really just a broad description, okay? Because they have the flock cameras are being used in many different instances, different applications. At the airport, they're calling them flock cameras, but they're really not. They're like retina identification, facial identification. The ones that you're talking about today, in particular, are license plate reading vehicle flock cameras. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. So sometimes people are getting a little upset and a little like, oh, you're invading my space, you're invading my privacy, this isn't right. What are you doing? And there's a lot of reasons, and we'll go into that as you have a nice platform here that you want to discuss. But I just want people to understand is go into this with an open mind. What Bill is going to discuss today is the cameras that are used strictly for law enforcement, okay, by utilizing the license plate readers, flock cameras, and it does help. It does have a benefit. Anything could be abused, which we could talk about some of the cons later, but I just wanted to set the stage so people kind of understand that this is not just a blanket, okay, this is what all the flock cameras are all about. And, you have a very good, like I say, you've done some research on this, and I think you'll be able to explain this as we go along throughout the day.
Yeah, so we're not talking about these cameras at the airports that have facial recognition now. Simply these cameras, and you have a couple of photos you can put on our YouTube.
And they've been.
Yeah, yes. So Dino's going to throw up some photos if you're following us on YouTube. And these are mounted on posts. There's the camera, and it takes an image of the car that's passing. So it's reading the license plate, and it's also documenting the make, model, vehicle, color. Now, let's go in the positive aspect of these cameras and why they were out there. There's an enormous amount of stolen cars out there.
And we're showing you different styles, so when you are able to identify them on the different poles throughout the village that you may live in. So they sometimes blend in, sometimes they're not trying to make them as conspicuous. Others, they put them right out in the open, where it's a little bit more obvious that that's what those are. But it's not a sneak and peek. It's not, like Big Brother keeping an eye on you. To Bill's point, and go ahead, Bill. You could finish explaining.
There's a lot of camera systems out there. You have all these towns that have these red light cameras that issue tickets for disobeying the red light. You also have, in the city of Chicago currently, speed enforcement cameras. I have an issue with that one because I received a speeding violation, and I paid it for a speed camera that targeted me. What they do is, at least in this road I was on, they lower it from 30 to 25, the speed limit. The normal speed limit in the city is 30 miles an hour unless otherwise posted. Well, they did post it. They dropped it to 25, and I got nailed 1 to 6 miles over. But it didn't tell me what my speed was. Was I at 29? Was I at 31? They just mailed me a $35 ticket. Now, if I would have gone over it at 6 miles, it would have been a higher fine.
Right.
But it doesn't tell me. As a policeman, and as policemen, we used to use radar units to do speed enforcement. I had to calibrate that radar unit before and after the traffic stop with a tuning fork to make sure it was giving me an accurate reading. My contention is, how do I know those speed cameras are properly calibrated?
That are out in all types of weather.
Yeah. Well, you know what? 1 or 2 miles can make the difference in whether you get a ticket or not.
Yeah, or a $35 fine or a $150 fine.
Yes, sir. So that's my issue. With the flock cameras, I don't care because I realize that driving around, I have a car. In order to drive, you have to be licensed in Illinois. You have to be license plated You have to have a valid driver's license and mandatory insurance in Illinois.
Yeah, liability.
So driving is not a.
It's not a privilege. It's a right. I'm sorry. It's not a right. It's a privilege.
Yeah, switch that. Reverse
Yes,
that. Like
yes.
Willy Wonka says,
Yeah.
reverse that. So it's you have a privilege to drive the car. You have to meet those. Qualifications. It's not part of your constitutional rights like search and seizure, the right to freedom of speech, the right to assemble. Those are constitutional rights. And that's the issue here. There have been, and I documented, and I've been doing a little research, like you said, according to Newsweek, and I list my sources here, police officers accused of misusing flock cameras in 12 states has evolved into a national debate. The flock camera LPR, which is license plate reader system, is currently used by thousands of law enforcement agencies in the United States. Georgia has become a major flashpoint for officers accused of improperly accessing license plate reader information. According to the Flock website, that information that pops up on the Flock cameras is supposed to be deleted after 30 days unless it's part of an active police investigation. So what would an active police investigation would be, is it part of a crime? And there have been many crimes that have been solved because of this. Back in 2023, 3 years ago, in the northwest suburb of Howard Heights, Illinois, which borders Chicago, Park Ridge, and Norwich, a woman, 7 o'clock in the morning, was going to work, a 61-year-old woman. Somebody got behind her, hit her, and strangled her with a zip tie.
Wow.
She was found unconscious on the ground. The way the call came in was unconscious citizen ambulance call. They didn't know what they had, but they knew her vehicle had been taken. So the police department entered that information into the Flock system, into the database as a stolen vehicle, and they had no clue who attacked this woman or took her car. But the Flock system read the camera in the town of Crete, 50 miles south, and an arrest was able to be made.
So hold on, did they take her vehicle?
It was one man. Yes, he took her vehicle. It was a carjacking that resulted in a beating. And this is the first time I ever heard of a zip tie being used across a person's neck during a carjacking.
Because what I'm asking is, it's important that, okay, the license plate was able to be detected because that was the vehicles they were in, but does it have like a 30 seconds ahead and 40 seconds behind? It's not like a regular videotape. It just captures a license plate and tells where it was at a particular time. Is that what it does?
Yes, but there's a notification that pops up. Because I've sat next to policemen that have notifications on their equipment, and then this popped up, into their town. So sometimes, you got to face facts. Even with the technology we have in cars, the GPS, the alarm systems, cars are being stolen all the time.
Sure.
If they steal the car, I have no problem with it. I call State Farm. Hey, my car's gone.
It's property. It's metal.
But when they attack people, when they beat people, when they murder people.
I agree with you.
That poor woman ended up dying in the hospital a couple of days later. But the only reason law enforcement is able to make that arrest is because of the LPR camera. That license plate was read. The police department in the local area was able to make the arrest and identify the subject who was subsequently arrested and is still pending trial.
And I don't want to complicate it too bad, what you're talking about. The reason I was asking that question is, what if the vehicle was behind her vehicle, her plate was there, and the vehicle behind? It also captures that license plate as well. Can they tell that one vehicle was behind the others, what I'm getting to?
It should catch every license plate that's in its viewing capacity. That's the way it's
so they would be sequential. So if they capture her number, the one behind, they would have caught that number too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think he had a car that he left there.
No, I understand that, but I'm just wondering if that would be another way that this could be useful.
Yeah. Because she was attacked. She went to the hospital. The family told her, hey, we have this, her car's gone.
Right.
And they were able to enter it into the LEAD system. And that's another thing, the LEAD system is the law enforcement database system. And you use this when you're a policeman. Sure. We, as policemen, enter license plates. Now they have mobile data systems. They have computer systems in the cars. But when me and Dino started, we had to call dispatch, remember?
Yeah.
We didn't have that. I didn't have a data computer till the mid-'90s.
No, right. That's when they came out.
Yeah, I think they were out there a little before that. But the mid-'90s.
Well, to everybody's vehicle, and then they were able to, you could talk to each other, town to town even.
Yes. So you entered that information, the LEAD system, and entered in Flock. So in the old days, before Flock, policemen had to physically run the license plate to find out it was stolen.
Correct.
A stolen car could have driven by the policeman and he never would have known.
No way of knowing.
Correct. So with the Flock system, as soon as that targeted license plate goes through their system, it makes a hit and there's a notification. And that's one of many cases. There was a incident this year about the father who was the biological father, but he was having some psych issues, and he took his kid and he was traveling around. And how many times on the expressways do you see these signs on endangered person?
Yes, the warnings.
The Flock camera makes it easier to find missing people, people that are having mental health issues, and it's been documented. You don't want people that are in some kind of distress behind the wheel of a car or a truck or a motorcycle. It can cause a lot of damage. And there's been cases where people have, due to mental health issues or they're suicidal, they've struck other cars and killed other people.
Right.
So you really don't want that. Also, we have people that are suffering from Alzheimer's and they get confused. Some of them are older, but and that's, I don't want to get too off track, but Alzheimer's is hitting younger and younger. I saw a case, the guy was only 62.
They're putting a lot of it to the stress that people endure.
Yes. So you got somebody that may be disoriented and confused, doesn't know how to get home. He may need some help. And if you could enter that into the system, find out where this man's at.
Find out where he's at, yeah.
Yes. Many, many years ago, when I was on the job, we used to get suicidal subjects that have taken off. The family told us, he was making these threats against himself, trying to find out. We entered into the system, but we didn't have flocks. And a lot of times we'd have to check parking lots, forest preserves. We found one guy now sleeping in the parking lot of Oakton Community College, and he wasn't even a student there. He just parked. And when you park a car in a parking lot with other cars, you can't see the tree because of the forest.
Sure.
So there is a positive, and that's why they put out the Flock camera system, and police departments engaged in them. But according to the Newsweek, there's been officers accused of misconduct in 12 states, misusing that information. But here's the point, folks. I did a post on LinkedIn that I was going to do this show, and I got 2,400 impressions on it, and about 1,600 members, LinkedIn members, actually read my post. So a lot of them made comments. One made about Big Brother from 1984, George Orwell, the book.
Yes.
Big Brother was a fictional system that was monitoring citizens to oppress them in a fictional society that George Orwell wrote about. But this is just tracking cars. It's not tracking people. It's tracking license plates and vehicles. It's not geared for that type of system.
And that's why, again, it's an LPR system, license plate reader. No more than that. The one you're speaking of.
You are on fire. So I understand there's a lot of negativity to it, and people don't like government looking over their shoulders. I understand it. But if this used, and I wrote, if it's used properly, just like anything else, any other system, it will function perfectly as it's geared up to be. Now, the problem is not police departments or government agencies misusing it. It's it's certain individuals in the police department.
Correct.
The officers that were accused of misusing that, a lot of them have been placed on administrative leave. Some have been criminally charged, and not just Illinois, across the states. So individuals that access it for personal reasons. And I remember when I was a policeman, I used to get leads training, the law enforcement data system, where you enter information. You could run license plates. You could run people's criminal histories. You can run FYD cards and so on, driver's license information, and find out if they're valid or suspended or revoked. I used to have to sign every 2 years an agreement that I will not use this information that I disseminate for personal reasons or give it out.
And one thing in law enforcement is just that. Not only do you have the class, you get certified in that class, you have to sign, like Bill's talking about, you have to sign that document that says, on this date, this time, I participated in this class, this was discussed, and you're signing it. By your signature, that means you're going to abide by all the guidelines that are in there. And then that's just to get the certification, like leads, law enforcement agency data systems. That's the same thing. You have to have that, but you get the refresher course usually it's every year at the very least, even the DUI training. We would get the certification, but then we would have a refresher course because in law, things change so rapidly, you have to be kept up on the changes. Just like with this new technology. LPR is going to get lit on fire. Believe me, it is. There's going to be all types of additions, but no matter what you have, abuse is going to be abuse in everything. There's abuse everywhere, no matter what you're a part of. Insurance frauds, you name it, okay? Somebody, they do a food giveaway. Someone, they're giving out 2 per person. They'll find a way to go out, change their hat, and come in and get another 2. Coupons limit so many. They go to their car, drop off, come back in. People don't know. So that's where the agency, the onus is on them to make sure that they regulate this as best as they possibly can by having credible officers there.
And
it's a trust factor.
Yes, you're making a good point. I was getting to that. There were officers that I know of in Illinois that violated the lead system, and they were administratively charged. Some were fired, some resigned, and some were criminally charged. You cannot give out information. The way it was written when I was a policeman was primary and secondary dissemination.
Yes.
Primary information means I run a person or a license plate, and one of my fellow coworkers in my police department comes up to me and asks me for that info. That's primary dissemination. I could tell them, well, it's a 96 Chevy registered to this person. Well, secondary dissemination is if a other law enforcement agency pulls up next to me and asks me, hey, did you get any info on that car? Then I give them the info. That's proper primary and secondary dissemination. What is not allowed is when people ask you, and I'm sure you had a policeman, as a policeman, this happens, I'm sure it happens, hey, can you check on this license plate for me? No, we cannot check for personal reasons.
You're not allowed in. Plus, if you recall, we used to have, give me a 27 or 28. 27, I think, was the vehicle information. No, 28 was the vehicle information. 27 was by giving them the driver's license number. Now you would get a quick report of how many stops he's had, blah, blah, blah. But then there was also the CQH, criminal history. Now, criminal history, every time one was requested, officer had to go into dispatch and sign that book that he made that request. So there was accountability with it, and I assumed that there would be, the LPR would have to have the license plate readers, they would have to have some sort of accountability. We're going to come back in just a few short moments. This is Life Experiences with Bill Pelarenos. He's got so much more to talk about. Hang tight, everybody.
From the pages of the Elgin newspapers of 100 years ago today, these are the headlines brought to you by the Elgin History Museum.
This is Alan Walters reporting the Elgin News from August 26, 1926. Tuition in traffic court proves costly to pupils. Police Magistrate George R. Thompson's court was converted into a school and traffic rule instruction today, with 2 South Elgin youths as the students. Tuition paid at the close of the morning study period amounted to $33.80. Professor Thompson instructed the boys in the proper hand signals to use in informing other drivers of their intentions to make right or left turns or a full stop. The boys were apt pupils and after a few instructions had the arm system down pat. They then paid their tuition and were released. Officer Leroy Glendenning apprehended the 2 boys speeding down Dundee Avenue at 10:30 o'clock last night. The boys admitted in court that they were passing street intersections at a 35-mile-an-hour gait. You boys plead not guilty to these speeding charges, yet you admit you were passing street intersections at 35 miles an hour, declared the police magistrate. Just because of that, you'll have to pay the fine, $5 and all the trimmings, so it'll cost you $16.90 each. In other news, Elgin's first case of typhoid fever in over a year was reported to city health officials today. Officials investigated in an effort to determine how the disease was contracted by the 6-year-old boy, but were unable to find the origin.
Elgin 100 Years Ago is a presentation of the Elgin History Museum. Be sure to visit the museum located at 360 Park Street in Elgin, open Wednesday through Saturdays 11 to 4. You can also listen to Elgin 100 Years Ago at www.elginhistory.org.
For nearly 50 years, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council and Kane Senior Council have been dedicated to serving seniors in DuPage and Kane counties. Established in 1975, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council is a volunteer-driven 501c3 non-for-profit organization committed to helping older adults live with dignity. From providing nutritious meals to offering support services, the Kane Senior Council is there every step of the way. With programs designed to enhance independence and quality of life, they're proud to make a difference in the lives of their senior neighbors. To learn more or to volunteer, visit them at 418B Airport Road in Elgin or head to their website at caneseniorcouncil.org. Give them a call at 630-338-0999. That's 630-338-0999. That's the Kane Senior Council, caring for seniors because they deserve to live with dignity and respect. Visit caneseniorcouncil.org or call 630-338-0999 today.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. This afternoon, mostly sunny with a high near 83. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 62. Looking ahead to Thursday, there's a slight chance of rain showers, but it will be mostly sunny with a high near 81. Thursday night brings mostly clear skies with a low around 60. Currently, it's 81 and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
You know, chicken and a waffle, making that a sandwich, you can't go wrong.
Hey, I am Jamia in America. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Chicken and Waffles breakfast sandwich is
the maple flavor in every bite, the maple sweetness of the waffle. And y'all know the Chick-fil-A chicken is on point, right? And that bacon.
I think it speaks to whether you are team sweet or team savory.
Order the Chick-fil-A Chicken and Waffles breakfast sandwich with a caramel cream cold brew on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
And that was a fast break. How about it, Bill? We are back with Life Experiences with William Pelarenos. Topic of today is talking to pros and cons about the flock cameras. And the flock cameras, also known as the LPR, which is a license plate reader. Acronyms is real big in law enforcement. They got an acronym for everything. So we've identified a lot of the circumstances in which they should be used in the proper application. And Bill, you were going to bring up some other items as well.
And the point we were making, am I transmitting? Do you hear me?
You're on.
Okay. There we go. Much better. I wasn't getting the audio from the mic, but we're good. We're good. Dino's all over this board here. Thank you for coming in today, Dino.
I'm glad to be here with you, Bill. I love your topics. Seriously.
Okay. Our phone lines are open at 847-931-1410. So if you have an opinion or a comment or a question, join in, because this is we're entering the final stretch of today's episode. We're running till 4 o'clock, so we got another 24 minutes to go. And I want to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about with this controversy over the flock camera system. There are people that have really taken their anger out to an extreme. They've been damaging these cameras. Certain arrests have been made. That's not the way to handle your anger at what you think is a violation of your privacy. Which, if you take a look at what the system actually does, it doesn't violate personal privacy. It documents the license plates, the make, the model of the vehicle, passing a certain intersection at a certain time of day, and it notifies law enforcement if their vehicle is stolen, if their vehicle is used in a crime, and it's documented in the system, if their vehicle is wanted for a missing person or an endangered person, like we were talking about before the commercial break. People with Alzheimer's come up missing and they get confused, and they got to be able to be located and get these people home safely and soundly. And that's really the purpose of law enforcement, is to serve and protect.
And like you're saying, Bill, the important part is understanding that there is guidelines, okay? We understand that. And here's some of the damages. This is the solar piece that they'll purposely shatter and break so that it would be disarmed. There's several other pictures like that as well. But the key here is that, yes, there is guidelines and there are, rules, guidelines, regulations, whatever you want to call it, in place to stop the abuse, but you're not always going to stop everything. This is just what's going to happen. But by educating everybody that these are LPR cameras, and really what the purpose is, it's not to be Big Brother, like your movie. It's not to be nothing like that at all. It's to help law enforcement to keep doing their job, keeping the folks safe, and to be able to just, respond to areas that they couldn't respond. Someone's missing, like Bill identified, without being redundant. Someone maybe slipped away Alzheimer's and he's lost his way. Boy, you could see what's going on with these cameras and where the person is at. That's a win-win all the way around. So it's more than just keeping an eye on everybody and we're going to watch where you're going and what you're doing. That's not what this is totally about.
Yes, and I wanted to make other points. When people violate the trust of the public or they violate department policies and procedures, there are both administrative and sometimes criminal charges that can come about. Now, I wanted to talk about this. This has happened not only in law enforcement, but in the healthcare industry, where people's private problems, let's say you're fighting cancer, that's been released to the public. And this has happened a lot with celebrities. That's a violation of HIPAA. And the HIPAA is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. Healthcare professionals, hospitals, clinics, records keepers, they're not supposed to release your private medical information without your approval. And even before this Act 1996, I remember many cases where celebrities are trying to hide their ailment. They're fighting cancer or whatever the problem is because they become unhirable. If somebody is starting a TV show or they're going to have a special and word gets out that you're fighting cancer or something like that, you become unhirable and you're losing money, and that affects your ability to pay your bills.
Or maybe they're even doing some type of cosmetic situation that would alter their body or something of that nature. That's private, and that's what the HIPAA comes into.
Yes, that's legal. When people have Botox.
Yes.
Yes, it's a violation. You're not supposed to, if it's a medical procedure, you're not supposed to, the people are not supposed to release that patient's information. And I remember a couple of times in the 70s, before this, in the 80s, before this Privacy Act came about, a federal law in 96, where celebrities had to go on Johnny Carson, and they told, because tabloids were paying healthcare professionals to give them the information. And I remember there was some very sad episodes where celebrities came on, actors came on, they said, hey, I find this hard to do, but I got to tell people I've been fighting cancer before it gets released in the tabloids. So you had people's, and celebrities are people too. You're not supposed to.
Maybe they didn't want to tell their own family, but now they're exploited through, like you say, all these tabloids and all these, remember the Inquirer and all those different.
So it's not just law enforcement that violates, or certain members of law enforcement that violated privacy information. It's also in the healthcare industry, in the insurance industry, in other industries. And there's protocols set up to prevent this, but you have individuals that are violating the policies and procedures of the department or agency, and that's the problem. That's what it comes down to. But like you said, this flock camera will be resolved, because whenever there's a problem, there's always a knee-jerk reaction.
All the time.
So what Flock is doing, they're putting in where if somebody's tracking a car or something, they have to put in additional information, the case report number. Why are you tracking? Is this part of a investigation?
Yeah, you just can't make, and here's another one that's been cut and taken down, one of the flock cameras. The idea is just that. It's just like I explained. As a police officer, you could run the registration of the vehicle. You could run driver information of the person driving the vehicle. And then there's that other little level called criminal history. Maybe you think there's a little bit some more to what's going on, and it allows you to do so. This particular program has to have the same protocol so that this is not abused and used in the wrong way as well. So you just can't put out, I want this license plate. Yeah, tell me where it's located at and where it is. You just can't do that. You have to have a reason. And in most cases, it would have to be approved by your supervisor before you could even get it sent out for the, for the extra attention to find out where these vehicles could be. So,
I'm getting some comments where people are agreeing with us here. I'm getting, if properly used. Yes, that's what we're talking about. If properly used, whether it's a law enforcement database system or the flock camera or a medical system. Medical information, all this is contingent on people keeping their mouths closed.
Following the rules.
Following the rules.
And here's another one. This is what a lot of people will see. You'll see this. These are the ones that are on the squad cars. And that's typically used for like the parking. They want to check if there's a stolen car even, like in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning. They'll do a sweep with the cars. They could check all the ones for either parking violations, or they could check for a stolen vehicle, or you could even do the orange alerts, that you have out. So it's a useful tool, once again, if used properly. In the hands of the wrong officer, nothing is safe. Let's be honest.
Information can be very helpful in an investigation, but information that is abused by, and you know what? It's not just officers. I'm sure dispatchers got access to the flock system. Right. I'm sure some administrators and maybe even records keepers. So you got civilians that may have access, and they also have to abide by the rules. And each department needs to set this up. Last night, as we were talking the first half of this broadcast, I saw in the news that this town in Illinois, Rolling Meadows, was having a public forum at their village board meeting of whether or not to maintain their contract with Flock. Some towns have taken out the Flock system, which I think is wrong. All you have to do is tighten the screws, make sure everything is make sure each town, each law enforcement should have a person or persons in charge of auditing and checking the flock system, just like they do with the information that's entered in the computer when officers and dispatchers individually run license plates or they run criminal histories of people. That cannot be disseminated outside law enforcement. And just like I explained, primary and secondary dissemination, you give out that information to your agencies or an outside agency.
And I'll tell you, you want to know when a flock camera is going to be needed and useful and important? When somebody's loved one is either missing or they can't find them and they were taken. Now they want to have all these tools that are, accessible to them when they can't. They want everything at their disposal when it affects them. This is something that could help law enforcement, again, used properly, could help law enforcement. There's like a 30-day, you were saying, 30 days of holding the information, and if nothing was flagged on it, like commission in a larger crime, then it gets erased and it gets disposed of. As far as sharing with other agencies, and there's been concerns with all this stuff with the ICE agents and what have you, are the local municipalities sharing this with federal installations? So these are all safeguards that need to be in place, I would assume, are in place in most cases. But now, now you get to the other thing. You've got maybe 6 communities in the surrounding area, and maybe 2 or 3 don't participate. And now when they have a problem, they get to still use the same tools that everybody else is abiding by. So that's why it needs to be some type of a set program that everybody could share in it and everybody could utilize it with proper checks and balances. I agree with that.
The cameras are not only useful law enforcement, but private cameras too. A lot of times, and most recently with the boating accident, Fox Lake, they were asking people to check their Ring doorbell cameras, to check their videos, to see if they could identify a boat that was passed by a speeding boat that was involved in a fatal crash. So it's people's personal cameras or also can be used for law enforcement to solve a crime or to assist in disseminating the facts. I mean, if you got a video, you can tell how fast a car was going from one point to the other if you have points of trajectory. On Friday nights, what you should watch? 2020 on ABC, because they've been doing it for at least the last year, documentaries, true crime documentaries. And a lot of these go back years where there were no flock cameras. So a person's been abducted, the car's missing. And a lot of these episodes are archived on Hulu. So if you got Hulu, just go back to 2020 and you'll see different episodes. And I was watching one episode from earlier this year where an entire family disappeared 20 years ago. The entire family's gone. And their car was found on the Mexico border, U.S.-Mexico border, because the family was missing out of San Diego.
Possibly could have been averted.
Yes, and that was the issue that came up. And it was not the family that drove that car, it was the offender that drove that car and placed it there to make people think that the family crossed over into Mexico. An entire family. And, sadly, it turned out that the mother, father, and 2 small children were murdered and buried in the desert. Some of these cases do not end well. The flock camera, if it can help prevent a crime or murder of a kidnapped individual, I'm all for it. But when individuals violate it, then they have to pay the piper.
And we had the state representative just on, Barbara Hernandez.
Yes.
Barbara Hernandez, and she was talking about the e-bikes. Now, I was victim's a bad word, but I was part 2 of an accident. I was vehicle number 2. I got struck by, one just went by our window. I was struck by one of those e-bikes, and what they did was they had asked for the neighborhood, and they had gotten a few ring bell cameras, and it went ahead and helped me with what I said happened. So they were checked it out. He says, oh, I was just pedaling the bike going through. And they showed that he was at a higher rate of speed on that e-bike going through the town, never once pedaling. So that went to, what I was saying, my accounting of the accident. And then they checked it all out, and they realized that I wasn't the one that struck him.
I have a similar system. I don't have the Ring doorbell. I got Wize, W-I-Z-E.
They're good. I got Blink.
Yes. And I got them on my driveway because 3 years ago, somebody came on my driveway and stole my catalytic converter.
Oh, God.
Now, these people are slick. Mm-hmm. They're in and out in 90 seconds. One guy jacks up the car, the other guy with a sawzall, woof, woof. And it's not just the catalytic converter. When you take it to the body shop, they have to replace the entire exhaust system.
The whole system. Okay.
Including the muffler.
Yes.
And then I still have problems passing the emission test because there wasn't enough time for the data to be entered. The emission is not just what is blowing out, it's the data. There's data maintained in these vehicles. So I had to wait. I had to buy an extension, a license plate, so I could have a month's worth of data to
pass the test, yeah.
I told him it's a brand new muffler and brand new catalytic converter. There can't be anything wrong with it. Well, you got to keep driving. You got to add 250 miles. So the good thing is, because I had to pass the emission test, I traveled from the city. I traveled all over the far northwest suburbs, near almost into Wisconsin, and I found some great restaurants.
There you go.
I found a great barbecue joint in Huntley, and I'm going to ask him to come on this show because we also do restaurants, arts, and entertainment. But you kill two birds with one stone. If I just got to burn gas on a highway to get mileage and data, I might as well go to a restaurant.
That's right.
So I Googled BBQ, barbecue. Where can I find a good barbecue place? And I ended up with one. So
you struck gold. You found one.
That's my life experience, folks. Good meal. Me and Dino have shared a good meal. A lot of people here. We had a good party. And we got there from point A to point B with cars. We used cars legally.
That's right.
I have no problem with Flock documenting my license plates. As a matter of fact, I welcome it because what if there's a false accusation?
I said that about body cams. Any officer today, they didn't have them when we were on. Any officer that doesn't use one today, I think they're foolish. If you're out there doing the right job and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, ain't no one going to bother you.
The reason
it's going to back you up. That's a better partner than your partner in the car, because that camera and that video and that voice, it's everything that either you said or did or didn't do.
Yeah, that's for false accusations against police.
That's right.
But I'm talking about when people are falsely accused of crimes. And I was watching this 2020, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, with the family that was murdered. The defense tried to defend their client by saying, hey, this other person should have been looked at as a suspect. But that other person, fortunately for that time that the family disappeared, was in Hawaii. But if he wasn't in Hawaii, he'd be a suspect, in the San Diego murders. It's if they got my plate and I'm in Huntley or Hampshire, Illinois, and a crime occurs in say Elk Grove Village, well, I'm nowhere near there. It ain't me.
Missing persons. This is a very valuable tool. Because you could put that license plate in, again, those orange alerts and all the different alerts that go on. It's a very, very valuable tool because these flock cameras are throughout the expressway. So, and for good reason, for good cause.
And what I also do, and we're talking now, we're away from government, we're talking about personal use. On your cell phone, there's apps where people that you authorize can track you. Mm-hmm. Me and my daughter track each other. Because you never know what's going to happen. What if I'm in, and it's happened before where I was in a car accident, the
phone falls in the back seat, or it's not.
Yes,
you're not able
you need to be tracked.
That's right.
There was an incident of a woman in Indiana. She dozed off while driving. She went over a bridge, and people couldn't see her because she was on 2 weeks. She was in there, and she couldn't reach her phone, and she was trapped. Her legs were trapped. But if that phone would have had the tracker, this woman could have been found earlier.
Quicker.
Yes.
Because when you ping it sometimes, the battery could already be dead. And I don't think the pinging works if the battery's dead, does it?
Yeah, pinging will give you a general area.
Mm-hmm.
And
little triangulation.
Triangulation, there's geofencing, geolocations. Right. Technology can be magnificent or it can be terrible. Just like social media. You get a lot of info, but you got people that are putting out false info on there, fake news. And sometimes they do it as a joke. There's some websites that are just satirical, and people take it for gospel, And I've seen it where they replay the information on like Facebook or Twitter or something, but it's false. And if you do some fact checking like we do here, the original author, that was a parody. It was like The Onion. They make up stuff just for, satirical purposes. Sure. But they say if you go to their websites, it's not for real. But people take it for gospel. So there's all kinds of abuses or misuses or just misunderstandings in whether it be a private system or social media or law enforcement or cellular, So I'm happy. People want to track me. I don't care. I have nothing to hide. I could care less. I have no boss. We have no bosses, No. That's the advantage of being retired. How much time
we have a couple of minutes left, but your takeaway, your opinion of it anyhow, the LPR, the license plate readers, the flock cameras, you have no problem with them whatsoever. Is that a fact?
They could read my plate all day long. As a matter of fact, I welcome it. So
some of the things, like I said, that, some of the cons to it, some of the people, you read all the comments that are out there, and I tried to do a little research with it too when I knew this is what you were doing. In fact, we talked about you, that this was something you were going to bring up, this topic, and we just brushed on it briefly a little bit this morning. And again, you have to look at it as how is it being used, why is it being used, and is it just an LPR? Everybody is more upset about getting that facial identity and all of that recognition. That's more in the airports. But I think for this purpose, I think it could be used for good.
So my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I'm going to throw it out there. Folks, let the dust settle. The towns, the cities, the municipalities, the counties, the state that uses the LPR camera will put more safeguards into place, as will Flock and the other systems. But there will be a knee-jerk reaction to this, and there'll be better oversight. And that's the good thing that come out of the controversy. The bad thing is these people damaging these cameras because it's not theirs to damage. I don't agree with taking physical violence on any whether it be criminal damage or human damage.
Well, that about sums it up, Bill.
How much, a minute?
Well, you got a good 45 seconds left. Go ahead.
For those of you that are on Facebook, follow me on Pelarenos Police Project. Just click like, and you can message me if you have any comments or commentaries. We're setting up a lot of guests between now and Halloween. I'm trying to line up everything. Everything is always a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance. With this radio station.
Well, you have to get things prepped. You want to make sure people are ready for this, prepared. They can have the questions answered. But today you brought some great light on the flock camera today, Bill. Thank you very much. Everybody, you've been listening to William Pelarenos. And it's his life experiences. He's got some good ones, I'll tell you that. And this is a good topic. And I think, again, educate yourself with it. Let's find out what it is before we naysay it. That's all I'll say. Thank you, Bill.
See you next week.
We'll get you next week.
Best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want. Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee